a marriage proposal for his daughter from the leader of the time, and marrying his daughter off to a poor, a gharib shakhs. And the news spread, and people asked Sayyidina Abu Darda why he had taken this step and why he had refused a proposal from the leader of the time, the Hakim work, and married his daughter to such a poor man. And he replied, I did what was best for my daughter. Do you think that with the shameless Bay-Hayat tyrant controlling my daughter all the time, by living in beautiful, decorative mansions, do you think that my daughter will succeed in preserving her deen, preserving her religion? So the lesson that we learn, that the Sahaba-e-Kiram, the Salaf Salihin, did not, when choosing rishte, when choosing partners for their sons and their daughters, would even reject proposals from the leaders, the kings of the time, if they did not seek taqwa inside him. If he wasn't a God-fearing man, if there was no sign or element of piety in him, the thing that they looked for was taqwa. The thing they looked for was shun, was haya, was love. And these are the things that we should look for in this day and age. The Fuqaha, the Hanafi Fuqaha, have said that this is mustahab for when you marry someone, for the woman to be better than the man in character. Better in character, better in habits, and better in piety. But for her to be less in age and for her to be less in status. A few words on how to find a partner. Firstly, in this day and age, if someone feels that he's in a position that he must perform nikah, he must get married, then if he can afford to, if he can't, he can marry. But if he finds that there are traditions and customs have become a barrier, become an obstruction for him, he should wisely try to convince his family to marry him off a youngster. He should wisely try to use hikmah and convince his family. But if that doesn't succeed either, then to sort of be patient or to fast. The Prophet Sallamahul said in the hadith, any one of you who has the ability to marry should marry. And if you cannot, you should fast, because fasting is an alternative when it comes to suppressing desires and controlling lust and share. When you fast, you eat less lust and desire, less share in a person's heart. For parents make a big mistake of forcing their sons or their daughters. Our Fuqaha have written that it's very important, it's zururi, to make sure that you don't force your daughters or your sons into marrying somewhere where they don't want to. And even children should, if they don't have a valid reason not to, should obey their parents when it comes to marriage, and should get married wherever they want you to, unless you have a valid reason. The issue of marrying without parents. Okay, even if there are certain cases, it's a very detailed issue from a fiqh point of view. There are certain cases that if you did marry without your parents' consent, the nikah will not be valid at all. It will not be valid at all. Depending on the status, by status I don't mean caste, I don't mean baradari, other elements. Okay, anything that could disgrace the woman's family. Okay, there are certain cases if you marry without your parents' consent, the marriage will not take place at all. And there are other cases where even if you marry without your parents' consent, the marriage will be valid, the nikah will be valid, but the sin of disappointing your parents, the sin of hurting your parents would still be there. But whether or not someone can marry without his parents' permission, I'm not going to say that it's completely allowed. You can marry, not bother about what your parents think, not bother about their opinion. On the other hand, I don't approve of, or Sharia does not approve of, the parents forcing the children marrying as well. What Sharia does say, that the children should not disobey their parents in matters of marriage, unless there is a proper reason to do so. And it is a mufti that would decide whether or not in a specific case a man or a woman is allowed to disobey his parents, judging by his situation and for what reason the parents have or not agreed or forced him to get married, not being to marry him off where he wants to get married. So the issue of marrying without parents, obedience to parents is important even when it comes to marriage. But then again, we know that these days we are in a situation where the child has to get married from an Islamic point of view, but the parents aren't willing to get them married whenever they want. Are they allowed to disobey? Is the man or woman allowed to disobey his mother or father in that case? It's something that has to be dealt with in because it's haram to disobey parents. It has to be dealt with as an individual case which is put to the Mufti. One of the things that the Fuqaha advise is when you get married, when you intend to get married, ask all your relatives for suggestions of where one should get married, where one should do nikah, so that all relatives get involved in the nikah. And that if ever in the future the wife and husband they were ever to fall out, that the relatives would join in when it comes to making efforts to make peace and reconcile between the husband and wife. It is mustahab to see the woman. For a brother to see anyone he intends to marry, it's mustahab, it's preferable to actually see them before you get married. But this hadith is misinterpreted in this day and age, that you are allowed to see the woman before getting married. But that doesn't mean that we're allowed to have a whole interview or engage in an informal conversation. It doesn't mean you can, it is not at all meaning that Islam approves of the dating system, so that you can sit there asking as many questions as you want. One is enough. As far as getting to know the woman, the Fuqaha told us that what you should do, the same applies to the sister about the man, is that use relatives to inquire about the personality, about the deed, about the characteristics of this person that you're interested in. Use relatives, use people close, reliable people to inquire about the deen, the akhlaq, the parda, whether or not he or she applies both to the sister as well. She should, if she knows that someone's interested in her, or that she intends to get married to someone, she should also, via the men of her family, inquire about the characteristics, about whether or not he comes to the namaz, fasting, whether or not he has haya, he has sharam, he's an honorable man. She should inquire about it. She has the authority. She should, not just has the permission, but she should, and so should the man. Okay, not just looking at them once, but you can, before you get married, you can inquire, investigate about the person as much as you want. But keeping in mind, because you're not married to a woman, because you're not married to her, you have to maintain the brother. A man without marriage, a man cannot look at a woman's face. A woman cannot look with shahwat at a man. So the hadith that says that have a look at the woman before you marry her does not imply, as some people like to misinterpret this hadith, that you can spend as long as you want asking a question and having a long interview and staring at it as much as you want. In fact, yes, it's important to find out about the character of the woman, but do that via relatives, reliable people. And there's a shari masala here. If someone comes to you asking, now we know that ghibat is najaiz, ghibat backbiting. Speaking ill of someone in his absence is not lawful. It's haram. Ghibat is haram. But there are a few cases, there are approximately 12 cases, situations where you are allowed to backbite. And one of those situations is if someone comes to you because he himself or he's inquiring, he wants to know about someone that's close to you because he's interested in marrying himself to that person, or his daughter, his son to that person, and he wants your opinion about it. He wants your opinion because he thinks you know that person, that woman or that man better. This is one of the situations where you can't speak. If you know any faults in that person, man or woman, you are allowed to expose those faults. Because you're being asked for a mashwara. Someone is asking you for your advice about whether or not a particular woman or man that you know is suitable for him or for his daughter. You're allowed to backbite, basically. The point I'm making, one of the situations where backbiting is permissible is if someone's asking you for a mashwara in matter of nikah. If I know that the man that he's inquiring about has faults, I can expose those faults, which in normal cases would be haram to expose from those faults. To say that he isn't punctual in his namaz or his character isn't good, he isn't a modest person. Generally, if I said about someone he isn't a modest person, it's riba, it's backbiting, it's haram. But if someone came to me and said, look, if I'm interested in marrying my daughter to this man, what do you think? I can say, don't marry. I personally think he's not a very modest man. He's not a very honest man. But this is one of the cases, one of the situations where actually backbiting liberty comes in. So we should inquire about anyone we're interested in using our relatives. As I mentioned, there are, when it comes to obeying parents, the caste issue is not an issue from a fiqhi point of view, which has turned into a massive issue for us. But Bradari, caste is irrelevant, it doesn't affect Nikah. Wanting to marry outside your own caste